Golden State Warriors are back, and not just back in the standings with a 1-0 start, but back looking like that mid-2010s juggernaut that ran the league for years. At least for one magical third quarter, they gave fans that nostalgic feeling, and Warriors Nation was loving every second. From ball movement to defensive intensity and cold-blooded shot-making, it was vintage Warriors basketball. But hold up. The fourth quarter brought a little reminder that nothing comes easy in this league, especially when you let a team like the Lakers hang around too long. Still, the Dubs closed it out when it mattered most, thanks to smart adjustments, timely buckets, and clutch plays down the stretch. Let's just talk about that momentum shift for a second. The Warriors had full control going into the fourth, but then things started to get sloppy. Missed assignments, a few lazy passes, some soft defense. Suddenly, the Lakers were right back in it. But credit to Steve Kerr. He called a timeout, settled the group, and the lead ballooned back to double digits. That ability to absorb a punch and respond immediately? That's championship DNA. That's knowing how to close. And that's the kind of toughness this Warriors squad is going to need all year, especially with a roster that blends old legends and new energy. And speaking of new energy, Jonathan Kuminga might have had his most complete game in a Warriors jersey. The guy looked ready, confident, polished. That shooting form that was the subject of off-season training videos, it translated. Smooth release, calm footwork, and smart decisions. He finished with 17 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. That's the type of all-around production the Warriors have been hoping for from him. If he can bring that every night and do it consistently in the starting lineup, that completely changes the ceiling of this team. You can see the mentorship is paying off. Kuminga has clearly been absorbing knowledge from veterans like Jimmy Butler, who also had himself a night. Jimmy Butler. What else is there to say? The man went 16 for 16 from the free throw line. That's not just discipline, that's dominance. 31 points on the night, and not a single miss from the stripe. That's the kind of efficiency that settles games. And you can feel his presence on this squad. He's not the flashiest Warrior, but he might end up being the most important piece for controlling tempo, especially when things get chaotic. He's filling that Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston-type role, the steady hand in the storm, the floor general who gets everyone where they need to be. And Kerr knows it. Post-game, he didn't hold back in praising what Butler brings: control, poise, no turnovers, high IQ basketball. He's the adult in the room. Even more impressive, Steph Curry, looking like he's already in mid-season form. 23 points on the night and a perfect 8 for 8 from the line. But what stood out wasn't just the scoring, it was the way he let the game come to him. He didn't force things. He trusted his teammates. And while his plus-minus was surprisingly the lowest among the starters at +1, that doesn't tell the whole story. This is a new-look Warriors team, and Steph knows he doesn't need to drop 40 for them to win anymore. He just needs to orchestrate, and that's what he did. Now, let's not overlook Buddy Hield. The man was locked in. 17 points in 22 minutes, and hit key threes to stretch the floor. He gives this team another dangerous perimeter weapon, and when he's hot, he's as streaky and explosive as anyone. He showed flashes of what he did in the Houston playoff series, and if he keeps this up, he's going to be a big problem for opposing defenses. And how about the rookie? Well, Richard. The guy earned himself the game ball, and not just for the stats. He brought energy, hustle, that kind of impact that doesn't always show up on the box score. He had 1 rebound, but it was a gritty putback right before halftime that gave the team a real jolt. He knocked down a 3, played hard defense, and looked like he belonged. When the bench unit can give you that kind of lift, even in small bursts, it makes a huge difference. We also have a talk about the defense. Yes, the Lakers shot 54% from the field, which sound bad at first glance. But here's the thing. A lot of that was tough, contested looks late in the game when the Dubs had already built their lead. The Warriors forced a ton of turnovers, disrupted passing lanes, and just generally made life miserable for the Lakers in the first 3 quarters. It was aggressive, it was smart, and it was physical. That's the kind of defense that wins playoff games. You also have to consider the context. The Lakers didn't have LeBron. That's a major factor. But even without him, this is a deep team led by Luka, who dropped 43 points. Still, he was a -8 overall, which tells you how impactful the Warriors were on both ends. The key stat here? Fast break points. Warriors outscored them by 7 in transition. And points in the paint? That was the big surprise. The Lakers dominated that area, 62-36. But when you hit 17 threes and shoot 42% from deep, you can live with giving up a few buckets inside. The Warriors' ball movement was crisp, 29 assists on the night, and the offense never felt stagnant. That's something Kerr preaches constantly. Motion, unselfishness, and trust. They played to their identity. They pushed the pace when they had numbers, but they also knew when to slow it down and let Butler go to work in the half court. That balance is everything. And let's not forget the clutch shot from Draymond Green, a corner three in the fourth that basically iced the game. That's not something you can rely on every night, but when Dre hits a big shot like that, it's a backbreaker for the other team. He brings that edge, that energy, and when his offensive game is flowing, even just a little, it elevates everything. Pachi had a quiet game, but that doesn't mean it was a bad one. 7 points, hit a three, and played decent minutes as the backup guard. With Melton and Moody eventually returning, his role may shift, but for now, he's holding it down. Same with Al Horford, who made his Warriors debut and looked solid. 5 points, 5 rebounds, and veteran leadership that's going to be key as the season grinds on. The coaching staff deserves some credit too. Adjustments were made at the right times. Kerr went small in the third quarter, which sparked that classic Warriors run. They started trapping high, forced turnovers, and got out in transition. That third quarter dominance is what fans have been waiting for. It was textbook Warriors basketball. But here's the reality check. Yes, they won by 10. Yes, they looked dominant in stretches. But this is just one game. Last year, they started 12-3, and we all remember how that ended. So, temper the excitement a little. Injuries, chemistry, and depth will all be tested. Still, starting 1-0 on national television in a high-energy game against a rival like the Lakers is exactly how you want to begin the campaign. And now, the schedule gives the Dubs a bit of runway. A day off, then home opener at Chase Center, followed by games against Denver, Portland, Memphis, and the Clippers. Then comes the East Coast trip, Milwaukee, Indiana, and so on. But until the end of October, they're basically on the West Coast. That's perfect for an older squad trying to ease into the season without burning out. The chemistry already feels better than last season. The energy is different. The roles seem clearer. Jimmy Butler's presence brings that steady pulse this team needed. Klay isn't forcing. Steph looks sharp. Draymond is locked in. And the young guys? They're stepping up. What really stands out from this opening night isn't just the win. It's how many different pieces clicked at the same time. This team doesn't feel like it's scrambling to find its identity the way it did last season. Back then, the Warriors spent the first few months trying to figure out rotations, struggling to close out games on the road, and dealing with off-court noise that clearly bled into the on-court product. This year, there's a different vibe. It feels cleaner, more focused, more purposeful. Everyone seems to understand their job. Veterans are doing veteran things. Rookies and role players are buying in. And the result is a team that already looks far more connected than it did at any point early last year. Let's go back to that third quarter, the one that brought back memories of the dynasty years. That wasn't just a fluke run. That was the result of smart, aggressive defense that forced turnovers and created easy looks on the other end. It was Butler taking control in the half court. It was Steph pulling defenders out beyond the arc and opening up lanes for GP2 and Kuminga to cut through. It was Draymond directing traffic like a quarterback. Everything had a rhythm, a flow, like watching a band hit its groove. When the Warriors are in that kind of sync, they can bury teams in 5 minutes and make the scoreboard explode. Of course, the Lakers pushed back in the fourth. That was always going to happen. You don't keep a team with Luka on the roster quiet for 48 minutes. But what's important is how the Warriors responded. They didn't panic. They didn't let the game slip away. Draymond hit a big three. Jimmy got to the line. Steph closed it out. It wasn't pretty, but it was clinical. That kind of poise is what separates good teams from great ones. Last year, the Warriors might have let that game get away. This time, they slammed the door shut. The stat sheet tells a story, but not the whole story. Luka put up massive numbers, over 40 points, but the Warriors made him work for every single one. They blitzed him, rotated quickly, and forced him into tough shots. He got his points, but they weren't efficient, and his impact was neutralized by the way the Warriors defended everyone else. And when you look at the turnovers, the Lakers' mistakes felt more costly. Every time they gave the ball away, the Warriors punished them with a three or a transition bucket. That's how you win games without dominating the paint or the boards. One of the more underrated parts of this game was how the Warriors stayed composed even when their shooting cooled off in the fourth. That's growth. In the past, they might have kept chucking threes, trying to shoot their way out of it. But now, with Butler in the mix, there's more patience. They got into their sets. They hunted mismatches. They trusted the offense. That's a big reason why this team feels more dangerous. They're not relying on just one thing to win. There's also something to be said about the balance in scoring. You didn't have a 35 or 40-point explosion from Steph. Instead, you had multiple guys in double digits. Kuminga with 17, Butler with 31, Buddy with 17, Steph with 23. That kind of distribution makes you way harder to defend. Teams can't just key in on one player and try to shut him down. There are threats all over the floor. And that's exactly what Kerr wants, a system that doesn't live or die by one guy's performance. Let's not forget the little things that added up to a big win. Gary Payton, too, made a couple huge hustle plays, including a putback and a fast break dunk that sent the crowd into a frenzy. Those plays might not be highlighted on national broadcasts, but they swing momentum. They remind everyone what Warriors basketball is all about: energy, speed, defense. Payton brings that identity, and even in limited minutes, he finds a way to make his presence felt. Another key detail: the Warriors didn't beat themselves. That's been an issue in the past. Careless passes, defensive lapses, bad shot selection. We've seen them throw away winnable games with unforced errors. But this time they stayed disciplined. Only one more turnover than the Lakers. Took good shots. Ran back on defense. Nothing flashy, just solid basketball. Looking ahead, this start gives them a huge advantage. The early part of the schedule is manageable. Not easy. There are no easy games in this league, but it's favorable. They'll have time to settle into rotations, build chemistry, and give the young guys real minutes in meaningful situations. That's crucial, because as we saw last season, the margin for error is thin. Every win in October matters just as much as the ones in March. And building good habits now can carry you through the long grind. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. In a shocking twist that has sent shockwaves through the NBA world, the league reportedly decided to cancel last night's marquee matchup between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Golden State Warriors due to allegations of an ineligible player taking the court. Sources close to the matter, speaking on the condition of anonymity, claim that league officials discovered discrepancies in player eligibility just hours before tip-off, triggering a behind-the-scenes scramble that ultimately led to the unprecedented cancellation. Fans who had filled the arenas, or tuned in from around the globe, were reportedly left stunned, with social media erupting almost immediately into speculation, memes, and heated debates. While neither the Lakers nor the Warriors have issued a full statement yet, insiders suggest the controversy centers on a recently signed player whose paperwork may not have cleared all NBA protocols. The whispers are loud. Some claim this could involve a failed registration process, while others hint at more serious violations that could have major ramifications for the teams involved. The NBA's Integrity Department is said to be conducting a fast-track investigation, but the lack of official confirmation has fueled an atmosphere of uncertainty. Fans are understandably frustrated. Season ticket holders reportedly demanded refunds, and sportsbooks around the country are scrambling to adjust betting lines, as the cancellation has thrown predictions for the Western Conference into chaos. Meanwhile, analysts are speculating on the ripple effect this incident could have. Could the Lakers face fines? Will the Warriors be penalized for unknowingly fielding an ineligible player? The questions seem endless, and the rumor mill is spinning faster than ever. Adding fuel to the fire, social media commentators have begun dissecting video footage from the game, trying to identify whether the player in question even stepped on the court. Conspiracy theories abound, ranging from clerical errors to possible deliberate manipulation, though none have been confirmed. What is clear, however, is that the NBA has found itself at the center of a storm that could redefine league policies on player eligibility and game verification. For now, the basketball world waits with bated breath as speculation, frustration, and rumors dominate the headlines. Could this canceled game go down as one of the most controversial moments in NBA history? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. The buzz is real, and it's only getting louder. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.